All right, I think it's time to get started. Welcome, everyone to a very special webinar on winning the Great Indian Festive Season. I'm sure you all know how important the upcoming festive season is for consumer brands in India, but how can you get the most of this surge in demand? This is what we are here for today. In the next 1 hour, we'll have a couple of amazing sessions and speakers lined up for you. But before get into the thick of things, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Shiv, if you could move to the next slide. Yeah. Awesome. So I hope everyone is able to hear me clearly. If you could just let me know in the chat, that would be great. Perfect. Thank you, Prashant. Thank you, Megha. Great. So this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be shared with you after this webinar on email. Along with that, you'll also get our festive marketing strategy kit, which I'll post the link during the session as well, and you will also get it on email along with the recording. And at any point of time, if you have questions for our speakers today, and we have some great speakers, by the way, I'll introduce you to them in a little bit. But yeah, if you have any questions for them, please feel free to post it in the Q&A box. That would be very helpful because the speakers and I will be monitoring the questions coming up over there. All right, let's get going then. And let's say hello to our speakers for the day. Shiv, if you could move to the next slide. Great. So first up, we have Shiv, who is our senior solution consultant for MoEngage, who will be helping you understand what kind of strategies and what kind of tactics can you deploy, especially looking at what's the role of a customer engagement platform or a marketing automation platform within the sphere of the festive season, right? And after that, we have 3 amazing speakers who are customers of MoEngage, who will share their best practices and learnings from running many festive marketing campaigns for their brands. So first up, we have Bhavuk, who is a product manager with Tanishq, who works very intensely on the festive season. And he was just telling us about what all plans he has. But more on that, you will hear from Bhavuk. Then we have Swati from Soul Store, which is a casual wear brand. They have their own festive campaigns, which may or may not align with the Indian festive season, but they have their own festive campaigns that they deploy, and they have a lot of innovation done on these campaigns as well. And then we have Tina from the world of Titan. Tina, again, another Titan brand, but works very differently compared to a product like Tanishq. World of Titan has been using MoEngage for a while now, and they are doubling down on this festive season with several campaigns, and you'll hear more from Tina today, right? And with that, I will open up the first session, which will be a presentation by Shiv on the role of customer engagement platforms, especially within the perspective of the festive season, and what strategies can you use. Over to you, Shiv.
All right. So thank you, Rohit, for the brief introduction. So my name is Shivaji. So I'm the lead solutions consultant for MoEngage. So today I'm going to help you understand a bit of strategies, how we can leverage this great festive season to increase your product metrics to the North Star, right? So before I start, I want to run a quick poll for the audience. So I need to understand like what proportion of your brand's annual revenue comes during this festive season, especially during this August to Jan period, right? So could you help us understand the metrics? It'll be great.
Yeah, the poll is live now, Shiv, and I can see results coming in. We'll just give it a few seconds, and let everyone take the poll. All right, about 60% of the audience has taken the poll already. I would request the others to also go ahead and submit the response. All right, I think we have a majority of the responses here. I'll just end the poll. So Shiv, it looks like 50% of our audience today believe that about 20 to 50% of their revenue comes in during the festive season. And there are interesting about 17-18% folks who have more than 50% revenue share coming from the festive season. Interesting stats.
Yeah, really interesting stats to know. All right, so let's quickly jump on to the opportunity. So before I jump onto the opportunities, I would like to understand a bit about your customer persona, right? So for any D2C brand, it is important both their online as well as offline customer persona. So there are multiple type of people who purchase, whose purchase pattern is dependent on the season, right? So there are seasonal buyers, there are regular buyers, people who shop at the end of the month, people who shop at the beginning of the month, and there are offline buyers as well, right? So it is important for any D2C brand to help their existing customer be it past historical data or the current trend, or it could be the offline data that you get from your D2C stores or in-store purchases, right? So once we have this data, let's understand what is the opportunity for this year festive season looks like, right? So as per our understanding, we understand that 23% of the shoppers shop more during the upcoming festive season compared to last year. And then people are participating in this festive season. 44% are going to spend more compared to the previous year, and we are going to experience an uplift of 20% in the ad spend during this period. 12% ad spend during this festive season, right? And so what does this mean for any brand or any D2C brand, right? So basically this drives higher disposable income, and brands obviously have to gear their strategies basis this income driven customer behavior shift. Will there be high increase in demand for luxury goods, automobiles, and then people who are walking in the store also increases as per income as per their buying pattern, etc. And then this also helps you increase your order volumes. This also gives you a platform to increase your metrics in terms of average order value or a cart value or a LTV of a customer. And then it will also boost your customers who are going to come back and do the referrals, or you can also leverage this platform to increase the average order value across all the platforms. It could be e-commerce, it could be walk-in store, etc. But majorly the strategies that are going to facilitate this is knowing your customer pulse in the current scheme of things, and also how do you personalize your communication during the current season, and also help take help of the omni-channel approach, right? So I'll just give you a glimpse of what this omni-channel approach or knowing a customer pulse looks like. So take an example of a season, right? So you want to understand how many customers who are in the champions quadrant in the past season compared to this season. So I would like to have this data beforehand. And then I would also want to understand how many customers who did a repeat order purchase or who have their average order during this period. And then I want to have this segment ready before I go into the festive season campaigns, right? So a tool like MoEngage will definitely help you have this data ready in hand so that you can run your campaigns at any point in time, right? The second, how can I avoid the fragmented data to have a siloed experiences, right? So obviously you need to target both the customers, both online as well as offline, but how can I get this both the data and unify in a single platform? So MoEngage has these capabilities where you can bring your offline customers and online customers and create a unified profile, and then you can build segments on top of the customer persona, right? So it can be customer buying pattern, it can be the sum of orders that he placed during the season, or it can be the overall purchase experience the customer exhibited during the year, etc. So you can target your customers basis the persona and also basis the unified profile attributes that we create in MoEngage. And the third is sending out personalized content on various channels, right? So let's say if customer is coming for a Diwali offer, that Diwali ad is seen on the website or the Google ads or a Facebook ad, I want to have the same consistent experience on the website. Maybe the banner would communicate the same communication that I communicated over my Facebook ad or a Google ad for a champion customer that who had a higher LTV in the last season compared to this season, right? So the strategies are going to be very similar across other channels, like be it push notification where you had different color CTAs and different color emojis, and also you would have a different message compared to a price sensitive customer versus a champion customer or a loyal customer, right? And again, simply you need to also reduce your go to time to the market, right? So let's say, for example, if I want to change the banner, how quickly I can change the banner of a website without depending on my website developer, right? So I should be able to use a no code visual editor and plug in my CDNs directly from a repository, and then personalize for various cohorts depending on the behavior that they exhibit. If it's a champion customer, I would have a different coupon code. For a price sensitive customer, I would have a different coupon code, and the banner would be different, etc. And all of this should take place in no time, right? And then omni-channel experience. Have a visual builder. Basically, you mind map all of your strategies right from your cohort to engagement of channels, and then A/B testing your content and channel combination of channels. You should be able to map the same drawing. Whatever you draw on the drawing board, you should be able to map the same strategy into the marketing automation platform that MoEngage can help you with easily by using a drag and drop visual journey builder, so that you can also create an omni-channel experience for your customers in no time. And then again, another strategy would be predicting beforehand. Let's say if I have my festive season 2 months coming in, so I can go ahead and predict my customer behavior. Let's say I want to understand how many customers are going to place an order in the next 2 months, how many customers going to open my email campaigns in the next 2 months, etc. So you should be able to create campaigns beforehand and run those campaigns for those high propensity customers, so that you can increase your average order values as well, right? So quickly, I would like to take you to the platform as well, but I would also want to give you some numbers. Let's say 60% of the customers increase their retention with one-on-one personalization. So this is about customer retention. When it comes to customer engagement, 45% of the customers increase in engagement from push campaigns using machine learning and the business results, right? So 56% increase in sales with this segmented campaign and the automated workflow. So this is about our understanding of the matrix when it comes to right engagement strategy during the festive seasons, and also exceeding your festive goals, right? But I would like to show you a glimpse of the platform, how you can uh, take these strategies live in no time. So take an example of RFM as a segment. So I am just giving you idea how to segment your customers and compare it with the current season and also the past season. So basically, I am going to segment the customers before like how they performed in my previous festive season, and I'm going to target these champion users before and by creating a segment of users. So I'm going to go ahead and click here and create a custom segment of these users who are in the champions quadrant in my previous season. I'm going to have a different strategy of engagement for these users, right? So basically, this is take an example of website engagement. I want to dynamically change the banner for a Diwali and a Christmas for those champion users, right? So let's say I start this outbound communication. Maybe I start this retargeting communication through Facebook ad or Google ad for this champion audience, and I'm going to personalize the entire session or the website experience for this audience who are coming to my website, going through the ads on Google or Facebook ads, right? So here I'm picking up the champions quadrant. I'm also picking up the in-session attribute, like people who are coming from this UTM campaign Diwali. I'm going to show a different banner, right? So this is the standard banner. Let's say this is a D2C e-commerce apparel website, and this is the standard banner. When I go ahead and change this banner for a UTM campaign Diwali, as you can see, the banner is dynamically changed for Diwali with the UTM campaign is equal to Diwali. Similarly, if the UTM campaign is equal to Christmas, the banner is dynamically changed automatically without any developer support. So I'm just using a no code visual editor here, and then I'm going to change the pattern or the website or the recommendations, the recommended products on the website using this no code visual editor, right? So you can just edit the website as per the UTM campaign. You can go ahead and change the banner whenever you require. I mean, this just reduces your go-to time market, and also increases your campaign performance as per your business goals, right? Other than that, you can also go ahead and build an omni-channel journey using the journey builder. So you can go ahead and use this drag and drop editor and start your campaigns by engaging with emails. And then you can also have an A/B testing campaign where you can go ahead and create multiple channels of your choice, be it push notifications or an on-site campaign or a WhatsApp campaign, and then understand or let the AI to decide which banner to be showcased or which channels to be utilized basis the customer response during this period, right? So this is way you're going to automate all of this process in no time, and then also reaping the benefits of the platform to increase your sales numbers, right? So let me go back to the presentation, and I would like to run a quick poll on this. So would you like to have a one-on-one consultation with our solution experts? So let me know the poll, your opinion. Yeah.
Great, Shiv, I've launched the poll. Everyone should be able to take it. Great. We'll just give it a few seconds and let everyone respond. Okay, we have about 60% of the audience who has responded. Can we have the remaining folks also respond to the poll? All right, I think we have it all. Thank you so much, everyone, for responding to the poll. And thank you, Shiv, for that insightful presentation. I'm sure our audience have gathered copious notes from the session. I think without further delay, let's step into the next part of the webinar. And let's say hello to our guest speakers for the panel session. Hello, Bhavuk, Swati, and Tina. If you could turn on your videos, please. Wonderful. Nice to see you all. All right, Shiv will be your moderator for this session. And to our attendees, remember, if you have any questions for Swati, Bhavuk, or Tina, please post it in the Q&A tab, and we'll pick it up towards the end when we have the Q&A. All right, Shiv, over to you. Please.
All right.
The discussion.
Yeah. Welcome, Bhavuk, Tina, and Swati. So and we all know, right, this is a great season for any brand to leverage, right? So I just wanted to understand what does this season mean to all of you, and I mean, what is the demand looks like, and how important this season for you guys?
Sure. I think so. Being a jewelry brand and one of the largest players in the country, any which ways, it's one of the biggest seasons for us. Considering festive is the time where we see our category moving, quite a lot in the market, and this, we tend to see influx of traffic and overall, engagement on the platform right before, Navratri and Dhanteras, as in when we close off with the Raksha Bandhan season. That's when actually festive begins for us. This season looks very exciting. There are a lot of things that we have already planned for in terms of engaging with our customers, and adding to that, since the perception or the momentum of the market is very strong during the season, there are a lot of opportunities that open up for you to leverage in quick go-to-market strategies. So that's how we are hoping for from Tanishq standpoint.
All right. So any insights from Tina and Swati on the same?
Right. From being here from the Soul Store, we don't have a lot of very traditionally festive campaigns, but because we're a brand that is all about fandom and fashion, most of our campaigns that are seasonal in nature or very event based, they're all commemorative events, right? For example, Batman's birthday is very special for us. We always be high on movie releases and anything that has something to do with fandom and fictional characters. So traditionally different from other brands, but we're definitely high on these events, which definitely counts as a festive campaign for us. And these are the campaigns that we really bank on to drive that additional growth, because on any given day or through the year, we launch a lot of designs, we launch a lot of new licenses. So they're definitely there through the year, but these certain events, people are really high on fandom on, and it helps us drive that incremental growth. And yeah, like this is something that really pushes us forward to individually push certain licenses and certain designs in the event of these commemorative celebrations.
So I have a question to Bhavak, right? So how do you actually cater to this demand during this festive season, right? Obviously, when it comes to inventory and the delays in the delivery bills, etc., right? So how do you communicate with your customers and keep them informed during this period? I mean, is it necessary to inform your customers about this product, delivery dates, etc., during this such period?
Definitely. And I think so, very rightly said, right? It's also about engaging with the customers because the demand is very high during these seasons. And there are multiple factors that sort of go into when we look at, forecasting for the festive or probably preparing ourselves. That I think so, it starts first with strategies in terms of understanding how you performed last year, right? There's definitely a benchmark that you take on the numbers that you have seen in the last festive season. Then you probably plan on what new strategies you're planning to bring. I think so. What you rightly mentioned is that it's important to communicate with the customers by when the product will get delivered, because for a category like us, specifically jewelry, there's a lot of buying that happens on the festive day, right? On a day like Dhanteras, people want to buy a gold coin and they want it to be delivered. That's when we sort of, when we have understood this in the market that people want the gold to be delivered on the same day, but we understand there's a logistics timeline that we need to follow as an entity. So that's how we understand the pattern of behaviors on the platform, right? Who is interacting with a particular category more, and then basis then we communicate to them that, hey, get your product delivered the next day, the same day, whatever the parameters are, and basis that we engage with them, knowing that if a customer has added a product to cart, he's likely to convert, and then we give them a nudge saying that, hey, buy it now and it will be there at your home before Diwali.
All right. Yeah, thank you. So question to Tina. So during this period, right? So what sort of campaigns, could you help us with type of campaigns that really works for you? And do you also perform any kind of experimentation like A/B testing, with the platforms, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So one challenge that we always have as a brand Titan, right? We have like variety of spectrum of watches. Like we have price range from 500 to 2 lakh. So such a wide spectrum that we have, it's very important for us to personalize it based on the customers who arrive. So the very first thing that we do is how are we going to segment these customers? So for this, we use this as even MoEngage provides this RF segmentation as a very key tool that we use. So where we segment the customers based on their recency and frequency, and then we align it with the customer affinity. So if I give you a very good example, right? Consider I have a very power user who is very frequently coming to my website, but only seeing fast track. So how am I going to tap this customer is I'm going to show them a message very personalized in terms of fast track to these users. So such high personalized campaigns is something which we drive a lot at Titan. And other than this, there's a very frequent, we need to like, we analyze the data on a very real time basis, like every hour and hour we have the visits and revenue numbers running in our dashboards, right? So for that we always see like at what time do we need to go with the flash deal sale, what timers that we need to use. So such campaigns actually play a very pivotal role for us in terms of getting to the festive season quick.
All right. Thanks a lot for that insight, Tina. So Swati, I have one more follow-up question on the same, right? So do you rely on the historical data of the customer, or, I mean, do you go with the instinct of the real-time data that is available, or is just the market trend, basis the market trend, you design your campaigns?
Right. See, there's definitely history tied to every event. So, I mean, there's a reason that we try and do something again. It's obviously because whether it worked or it didn't work. If it worked, we really need to know what worked, and we need to bank on it every year, right? So, any initial planning of any campaign is definitely based on history and what we've learned from our past campaigns. But that's not where it ends, right? While you proceed with your new campaign, also, it's important to learn real time from your initial learnings, and proceed accordingly. There have been times when we have chosen a certain product to be the hero of the campaign, and once you go and launch ahead, you realize that the other product was something that was picked up more often than the others, right? So then there have been times when we've actually changed the creative and we've made that product the hero, and learned real time from our campaigns and used that to build our future campaigns. So history definitely does play a part, but it's everything is definitely going to be changing. So it's important to also rely on real time learnings, however different they might be based on your initial plan of the campaign.
Yeah, thanks for that insight. So, Bhavuk, I have one more question for you. So, what does a customer engagement platform like MoEngage play a role in this season? Like, what features do you use most? What do you feel that is really good when it comes to the festive season, etc.?
So I think so. A platform like this plays an important role. As I think so. Swati also mentioned, right? History plays an important role in how your current campaign is going to perform. So right from strategizing to implementation, MoEngage plays a very important role for us to execute these campaigns. Right. Again, first you understand what type of data, what type of segments are interacting on the platform, and which category is doing more. That is where our understanding of our analyze uh, on MoEngage helps us a lot in terms of understanding the behavior on the platform. Other than that, the types of campaigns that we have run and we have seen have done pretty well. And taking a note from what Tina also mentioned is personalization, right? We have been able to understand the behavior of the customers on the app specifically. And basis that we very recently ran, in the previous festive season, we ran a personalized recommendation onto the platform, which is all about what the user is browsing on the platform and relevant products are being suggested. This was one of the use cases that really worked well for us. Including to this, we also further deep dove into sort of understanding what geographies are playing an important role, to get the sales, and that's where we further personalize the journey by relevant geographical communication as well as relevant products which we do well in that market. Something other than that, I think so, is also about creating FOMO in the market, right? Where the users would feel like, hey, am I missing out on something? Is it something that I am not going ahead and purchasing? And that's where the one of the timer notifications is what you guys has done. Did very well for us last Dhanteras and even at the Akshaya Tritiya. What we did was where we just communicated, hey, last few minutes of the Muhurat, because as a jewelry, people want to buy it in a specific auspicious time, and it would bring prosperity and XYZ. Considering to that, we understood this is the time period, this is where we need to sort of send this FOMO messaging, and that's where we see an influx of traffic coming in, which ends up to conversion with right engagement metrics.
Yeah, great to know that, Bhavuk. So, I have one final question for all three of you. So could you help us with some best practices for any of the consumer-facing brands to increase their average order value during this, festive season? What are the best practices that everyone should follow?
Okay. So I think just considering and learning from the kind of campaigns that we've done and the tactics that we've pulled to push for AOV, I would say anything that qualifies to lead to customer delight counts as something that can help you build, a higher AOV. So in our campaigns also, whenever we launch a particular license or whenever we do festive campaigns, we've always tried to delight the customer with a freebie or something that has a personal touch to it, or something that you would only get from the soul store. And that has helped us build that FOMO also of having that particular freebie or a special edition T-shirt. For example, like we turned 10 this year, and we've done a bunch of things to push for that AOV. We've sent out handwritten letters to our oldest customers. We launched 10 of our oldest designs that all our customers fell in love with. We launched a limited edition tee, and it was because it was limited in quantity, you had to rush to get it. All of our orders for 2 months received a thank you note and certain freebies. So that's something that really led to increase in sales without providing any sort of discounts. So for us, the formula has been about just providing and facilitating that customer delight. Yeah.
So Tina, your thoughts?
Yes, in terms of increasing the AOV, right? So we have this unique approach, which we called as propensity-led purchase decisions. So where we take the past purchase behavior of the customers, we understand how and their behavior analytics, and we understand what is their propensity and how are we going to upsell the products to them. So as you know, Titan is a very good data-led rich brand. I mean, like, we have been in the market since forever. So how are we going to upsell the watches or anything, or such strategies actually helped us to increase the AOV. And other than that, web personalization is a very key part for us. So in terms of, if anyone has an affinity of viewing watches more than a price point of say 20,000 or 30,000, then how good are we personalizing their experience? So it's, for us, it's all about curating the best personalizing experience has played a very pivotal role in improving the AOV for us.
Bhavik?
Sure. So there are two things specifically that have worked for us in terms of upselling. One is understanding the bottom funnel of your entire entire platform, where a user has already added a product to cart. Now, considering a jewelry, there are a lot of products which go well along with a piece of jewelry that you've added to a cart. So let's say Swati has added a beautiful earring to her cart. That's when we understand that, hey, customers are not converting, but they are still prospecting to buy. And that's when we will go and say, Swati, hey, Swati, this pendant goes along very well with your earring as well. Why don't you try this out? Now, this is one in terms of understanding what the customer is already browsing and catering to, and then we sort of recommend relevant products as an upsell. But I think so discount plays an important role for a category like us to increase revenue during the festive period. And adding to that, we give some only platform level benefits which a new customer can come in and avail. That also leads into a lot of increase in revenue. And I think so adding to that, engaging with the customers with what they have recently viewed or what they have recently sort of browsed plays an important role to bring back the customers who's a hot lead at the moment, and then get them converted. That's the strategies that we have been playing with so far.
Great. Really, thank you for all of your valuable insights. Rohit, you can go on to the next session.
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Shiv, for conducting the session. Thank you, Bhauk. Thank you, Tina, and thank you, Swati, for all your insights. I think I'll get started with the Q&A. So before I get started, to all our attendees today, please do post your questions in the Q&A box. We have some already come in. Right. So I think the first question I wanted to pick up was for brands like, especially like Tanishq and Soul Store and even World of Titan, where all of you have an online presence as well as an offline presence. Do you folks leverage your offline data as well to run campaigns? If Bhauk, Tina, Swati, you could speak to that.
Yeah, so to be honest, it's a very omni-channel approach is what we need to take from here onwards, because it's just not driving online sales. Sometimes we also do campaigns where we give traffic to the offline stores, right? So because mostly during the festive seasons, what happens is that morning we decide that we want to buy something, and then by night we need it. So one of the options that we have is the presence of a lot of offline stores. So integrating the offline data with online actually plays a major pivotal role for us. And other than that, one of the other example that I can give is the cross-channel promotion, right? Where we recently started doing some campaigns like a next day delivery option. So either you can get the product the next day or you can go to the offline store. So such integrations has been playing a key role for us lately.
What about you, Swati?
Yes, like Tina said, right, it's very important that whatever data you pull, it has a very omni-channel, perspective to it. Even if, like she rightly mentioned, sometimes the urgency is so much that you really need to be available everywhere. So even in our journeys, whenever we are building any kind of flow also, we consider all customers acquired from any channel. And even while mapping the impact and the just measuring the success of a particular campaign, we don't just look at how many orders were you able to drive online. It's important to also check if this person was persuaded and convinced to go and buy at the store also. So while our efforts are all split across channels, the results definitely need to be tied together, considering all channels together, and you can't really pin the success of a certain campaign only on online success. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Bhauk, do you have some
Sure.
insights?
Definitely, Rohit. I think so. For us, offline data matters a lot, considering we are about more than 400 stores in the country, and there are a lot of customers who are only engaging with the retail stores, right? So we try and get some low-hanging fruits from an offline standpoint as well, which may end up converting online, because considering for our category, there's a lot of touch and feel that is required before making a purchase. That's why a retail channel is a better option. So this is where we sort of leverage by taking, some low hanging fruits, what we understand from our CRM data coming in, that can come in and purchase online. But there's a lot of, back and forth happens from an online to offline channel for us as well, where we understand that there are certain products which a customer would only like to buy in a retail store. And that's where, we have understood that, hey, if in a category a person is spending X amount of time, it's better that we ask for their credentials and then, let our experts get in touch with them and give him a retail store experience as well. So it's again an omni-channel experience where offline and online, both come in hand to increase revenue during the festive sales.
Awesome. Thanks for that insight. I think Shiv, you already answered this question in the Q&A, but I think it's an important question for the rest of the audience to also know. So it's very clear that retail brands like Tanishq and Soul Store and Titan are very active during the festive season. But what about the banking and the insurance and the financial sector that is again B2C pretty much? So Shiv, do you have any insights on how BFSI brands or banks and banking firms can leverage the festive season?
Absolutely. So I majorly work with all the major banks and fintechs in India, right? So one of the major things that they utilize is obviously getting this online and offline data into a single place and then segmenting it basis the customer persona. Say someone who's an existing to the bank customer or a new to the bank customer, and someone who has already procured an asset product or a liability product. Let's say someone who's already have a asset product, right? So let's say during this festive season, you would have seen offers coming from automobile companies, right? So why can't I, post an offer for vehicle loan, right? Through, by segmenting these customers who have, shown interest in particular, vehicle loan category or a motor insurance category, etc. Right? Similarly, people, who don't have a personal loan, right? So you can target these users to have or purchase electronic sales using the personal loan offers, and people who also travel during this period, right? So you can showcase some offers related to the credit cards and also use their credit card reward points to redeem the travel offers on various websites, etc. So basically, you need to segment your customers basis their persona and attributes, and then you can target those communications by running different journeys, combination of different channels, and also use right emojis and the right product communication to the end users.
Amazing. So festive season is not just for the retail vertical, it's for everyone, pretty much. Great. All right. I think there is a question about the omnichannel approach that I think all three of you mentioned. The question is, how do you measure the ROI when it comes to omnichannel, right? I mean, it's multiple different channels, spends are different on different channels. And also an add-on question to that, how would you segregate the customers who organically walked in and transacted and have and how many have been driven by paid campaigns. Okay, so I think the comparison is between retail or offline presence, if someone comes into a store and transacts over there, versus audience that you might have acquired through a paid campaign or something like that. Bhavuk, do you want to take this first?
Sure, it's a tricky one because I think so. Even in a retail space, there's a lot of spends done to bring in walk-ins to the stores. So we have to maintain balance for offline and online as well, considering we're working for both now. From an online standpoint, how do you calculate the ROI is as much as you can, decrease the spends in terms of getting a lead to a store is how you can, optimize on your ROIs. Now, specifically for us, something that we have done is we don't look at paid or organic as different traffics coming into it. We understand the behavior of the customer on the platform, and that's how we transfer the leads to our Omni teams and all. But again, there's definitely X amount of monies that the brand is spending to bring in traffic. But again, the behavior patterns for each type of customers, be it a paid customer or an organic customer, is very different. So once you're able to understand how the organic traffic is coming in, what is the average time they're spending, how much time do they actually take to convert on your platform, it would be very different from what your paid channel would look like. And cases, once you're able to understand that, you can definitely attach the parameter from which the traffic is coming in, and then personalize their journey on your platform to drive maximum leads or sales during the period.
Makes sense. Tina, do you want to chime in here? Do you have some other methods of measuring the ROI, or is it similar?
So it's almost similar to what Bhavuk told, because we are definitely a bit of retail heavy channel comparatively to online. But there's also this approach, right? When we launch very sale led campaigns or any specific campaigns, we do consider we launch a campaign and we do send the WhatsApp or SMS to everyone across it. And then in the back end, we actually measure how many have been converted with offline and how many have been converted online. And then we take the overall ROIs that a campaign has generated. Okay. So we definitely don't take just because I have sent a WhatsApp or SMS or through our online channel and I'm getting revenue through offline, it's not my ROI. It's not the case. We definitely take the overall measure because at the end of the day, everything is contributing to the business.
That makes sense. Swati, I'm guessing Soul Store is more online heavy than offline. How does this work out for you? How do you measure the ROI?
Yes, definitely. It is very, very heavy online. But we have certain campaigns that are constantly trying to push for store sales as well. So I would say that for us it's been a very controlled approach, right? So if I'm trying to increase the number of store purchases, I would definitely try and utilize all of my channels online and all the other channels as well, which are be it paid or organic, to push for store purchases. And what is interesting to see is that some purchases would organically happen, right? Even if you didn't send out that communication, even if you didn't push all of those messages across different platforms. What's interesting to see is that there are certain customers that are revived from your existing database. Certain people who just maybe did not receive your communication on a general basis or sort of got left out in the system. But now, because you did this very targeted campaign and you did this approach of specifically catering to their needs and understanding their behavior, you've tweaked your communication and you've made them come back to your stores even if they're not shopping online. So what's interesting to see is how many people have actually turned out of the blue, people who might have purchased from you long back but are not very active right now online, but have now chosen to come back and give you a chance at the store. So it definitely does happen, even though the stature of our stores might be considerably lower than our online, but it definitely does happen.
Makes sense. Awesome. I think the next question is a little bit of a follow-up on the ROI part. I think let's keep ROI aside, but what are the most important metrics that all three of you track for festive campaigns? Like, how do you know while the campaigns are running, what metrics do you track to say that this is successful or it's going in the intended direction? And when you know it's breaking, right? So Swati, do you want to start with this?
Yeah, I think the very general metrics, I think everybody's very, very concerned about CAC. So whatever new customers are coming in, they have to be acquired at a very low cost. So you try and put everything into that first instance. So you try and push for campaigns that are going to be very cost effective, and they'll help you reach more people at a very cheaper cost. So for us, CPMs are a very important metric that we keep tracking, and just measuring it with the kind of reach that we've been able to build, and then closing in on that audience, because the initial buck that you spend might not be the most efficient. You might have to hit them with another few instances and impressions. But it's important that you keep measuring your CPMs and eventually CAC. Try and close that sale, even if it takes 4 channels to do it, or if it takes 10 channels. But CAC is a very important metric for us. Just initially, you can try and see how many people you are reaching and how are your CPMs trending.
Great, thanks, Swati. Avuk?
So for us, metrics are a bit different. While I agree with Swati that CAC plays an important role in terms of justifying ROIs and returns, but there are, I think so, there are a lot more goals that we can attribute to each of the campaign that we are, each campaign has a different end goal. Few campaigns would only be, initiated for a conversion to happen on the platform. But again, I think so we should also look at engagement metrics as well, because there would be customers who may come in on the platform today and not purchase, who would only prospect for a while and then come back again and sort of give you that buck that you have been looking for. But again, I think so for us specifically, like we are tracking conversions. Definitely, I think so everyone else on the call would be tracking conversions. But other than that, how many leads that particular campaign ended up generating for us, and as well as how much of engagement did that campaign did bring? What was the number of add to carts that increased? And I think so what something that we have also seen in the past is CTRs play an important role for us in terms of understanding what messaging, what type of communication worked well.
Yeah.
So that's where, A/B testing plays a very good role in terms of understanding what communication is working well to bring in more traffic.
Yeah, makes sense. What about you, Tina?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Swati and Bautol. Those are the common metrics that goes every day across our Excel reports and everywhere, even during the festive, it's just on our fingertips, right? But other than that, we also measure this metric called RPV, which is our revenue per visit. So when we say RPV, right, for the RPV, we play with two metrics. So we try to balance our conversion rate and our AOV. So how are we pushing our RPV throughout the day? So when the conversion takes a hit, you improve your AOV, or when your AOV take a hit, you improve your CR. So very on a real-time basis, right? We personalize the experience to the customers. So with this metric, we believe like it actually help us hit the sale numbers, right? So with understanding this new RPV as a main segment.
Got it. So I think good point you brought up, Tina. One of the other questions that we have from Anuj is, what are your inputs on how to increase or decrease the session time? So once they land, how do you ensure that they spend more time on your platform?
Yeah, so it's both pros and cons, right? Sometimes the marketer actually want you to spend more time, so you explore more watches, but you also don't want them to spend the time because you just want to check out and convert and leave. So it's a very it's a two-stand answer that we take. But ideally, what we really want, if it's a first-time user, right, we really want to improve the session time for them, because we really want them to discover, for example, all the watches that is present. So accordingly, we personalize the experience in terms of showcasing more, for example, on-site messages, right? We showcase a lot of on-site messages to explore the new launches or new arrivals. If it's a return user, right? If it's a return user, then definitely the session time ideally should be a bit low, because they already know what is there in the ecosystem. So there we give more nudges in terms of checkout faster or a better checkout experience. So this is what the take that we have on this.
Great. I think Swati, you will have some insights to share here, being online heavy.
Right. I mean, like Tina said, it's important to break out the customers into different behaviors and understand what is it that they're looking for. And if there's something that they've been building on, something that they've been browsing for a long time, it's important to build on that information and direct them to the right spot. Because if you want them to buy, it doesn't matter if it is in a short span or a long span, but you just want them to be on the right page. So on-site communication and all these engagements that you can drive within the site and the app ecosystem, it's very important, and it has to be well directed and controlled. It can't happen for your entire database all at once. It has to be broken down and structured for different types of customers. If you have certain people who have affinity towards a certain product catalog, then you build the journey for that catalog, and you figure out what is it that they would need to be persuaded to buy that product. It has that path needs to be drawn, and it needs to be broken down into what channels will make the best fit in order to bring the customer there and make them spend that time that's needed to convert this lead into a conversion. So yeah.
Makes sense, Swati. I think the other question that we have, and Shiv, thanks for giving your response already. But yeah, love to hear from Bhauk and Tina and Swati. What's your stand on, should we invest on paid campaigns for existing customers in our existing database? Right, very tricky question. We handle this question. I mean, we debate this at a B2B level also. But yeah, the question is that you already have push notifications going out, WhatsApp going out, SMS going out to the same audience. Does it make sense to invest more in Facebook and Google Ads using custom match? Bhauk, you want to start with this?
Sure. For that answer, I think so. It's going to be very different from business to business, but for us, it does make sense because we come from a very considerational category. Right? Even if the customer is already engaging with your platform, there's a lot of push that is needed to sell jewelry online. So considering to that, yes, relevant communication through your retargeting is important. Maybe, you set up right events which can sort of cater back to your Facebook campaigns, which can show relevant, products which the customers has already engaged with. But does bring the customers back. But again, it's also about planning how much of spends do you actually want to push there. Is it always going to give you good returns? No. Is it going to give you good returns at a specific period? Yes. So it's for us to understand when is the right time to put in monies to bring your existing traffic, so to retarget them on Google and Facebook. Apart from this, something that just adding is that has really worked is capturing with your uninstalled user base is where where we can sort of optimize on. Because maybe we can do a win back campaign and see good results through these
in those kind of scenarios, it makes more sense to do a paid campaign than the others. But yeah, I think the common theme that everyone shared today was that you need to look at the festive season or the campaign as a whole and not as just a single channel that's contributing to revenue. Great, thanks for that insight, Bhauk. I think we have one more question for you, Bhauk. Actually, it's not so much a customer engagement question, but I think the question is that you mentioned about same-day deliveries, especially during times like Akshaya Tritiya or Dhanteras. In this kind of scenario where delivery is a constraint, the suggestion is, can't we use something like VFast or Swiggy Genie in different locations to deliver the item? But yeah, I'll let you answer this. I have an answer, but I'll let you have an
Sure. I think so. Again, there are multiple aspects to this. One is definite cost. They are not going to do it. It's not, as is that you have understood this is the address you need to pick up product from and deliver. There's a lot of, logistically you have to be well prepared, because what if you have taken a VFast delivery and, an accident happens and the product is damaged? Who is going to take ownership of such scenarios? So there are a lot of challenges that come in. Maybe if your category makes sense, you can probably get yourself listed on a quick commerce platform which is taking care of similar needs. That is an approach that you can take. But for me, logistics play a very important role in an overall e-com journey, right? At the end of the day, the customer is waiting for their product right after they have paid money on her application, and they're like, when is my product going to come? And that's where the trust factor is built in. So I would not suggest to play with the trust of the customer.
Yeah. And especially like a category like jewelry.
Yes.
I wouldn't trust Swiggy delivery or any other random delivery person to, transfer that in the right way. And especially when it's not insured during that leg of the journey,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Great. I think we have one more question, and I think this would be our last question. What's your revenue attribution logic when you're calculating, contribution from different channels let's say at the end of the festive campaign? Tina, would you like to start with this?
Yeah, sure. So it varies from channel to channel, right? So for, if you say MoEngage particularly, we take click-through attribution as a very important metric to understand the revenue comparatively to view-through attribution, whereas for paid, we take last click attribution. So
Okay.
definitely it varies from channel to channel in terms of attribution, what we are considering. But ideally, at the end of the day, where the GA4 at the end of the day takes everything into home and maps everything, so that is where we take the overall contribution of each channel, how much it is contributing, and we attribute that to the sales performance. But in an essence, right, we can actually see if you take one day of a sale, you can actually see the peaks that comes from a traffic from each channel as per the traffic it is driving. So whatever it ideally drops down how much is each channel contributing to the ROAS that it's generating.
Yeah. Swati, your take on this? How do you attribute revenue from different channels?
Right, and I mean, even if all of us spoke about how much a channel contributes to how much of their revenue, it's going to be a very vague, discussion, because every channel is going to tell you this is the sale that I've brought, and when you tie it all together and go look at your GA report, it's going to be a whole another story, right? But like she said, you'll absolutely look at these specific peaks that will surface when you launch a new campaign or when you do something different on a particular channel. You will spot either a change in sessions, or there will be a change in the number of views you're getting on a certain page, or whether add to carts are really increasing, or a certain type of customer is increasing in count, right? Like you can have a certain campaign which is pushing your membership or a subscription, and you might see all those subscriptions go up. So every channel and every campaign is going to have a different objective, and it's definitely going to have a positive impact. You might not be able to pinpoint, this is the exact revenue that has been attributed to this campaign, but you can definitely do this in silos. You can do a very targeted campaign and look at the stats for that particular runtime to see what is the impact it has brought. It might not be positive within the day. It might show results like in the next 7 days or in the next solution. And like you said, every channel has its own journey, and every customer that is being exposed to a customer faster when they've installed your app and now they're receiving all of your views come through your ads might take 7 days. So it's going to be different, but it's important to hear this time to arrive at a decision and figure out if this is working for your benefit.
Thank you, Swati. I think that brings us to an end of the session. Thank you so much for, let me first thank the attendees. Some great questions coming out. And thank you so much for all the insights that Bhavuk, you, Swati, and Tina shared, and Shiv, you as well. I think just to close this up, as promised, we'll be sharing the recording. But before that, I'm just putting in the Festive Marketing Strategy Kit in the chat. I will share this on email as well. Please do have a look through. There are a lot of strategies that you can use, similar to what Bhavuk, Tina, and Swati are using already. And there are some great case studies also in there that you can use to learn from and implement some of those strategies going forward in the festive season. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I hope you had a good time here. I hope you found this session useful. And special thanks to Bhauk, Swati, and Tina for taking out time, preparing for this webinar, and coming in. Thank you. And thank you, Shiv, for leading the entire session.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.